MSNBC and CNN losing nearly half of all their viewers. I think it's like 47%. Nielsen data shows a significant drop in viewership for MSNBC and CNN following the 2024 presidential election. Dude, I wonder why. Was it all the lies? Was it all the fake polls? I wonder why. You guys tell me. New Nielsen data shows a significant drop in the viewership for MSNBC and CNN following the 2024 presidential election. In the week ending November 24th, MSNBC's primetime audience fell 53%. So the primetime audience is not the same as the primetime slot. The primetime audience, I think, is 18 to 55 is the primetime audience. I think it's a lot lower of a drop in like older audiences. And so that's why it averages out to like 47%. But super interesting, guys. I mean, they've lied to us for years. They spent the last 9 years pushing lies about their political opponents and attempting to push us into a one-party state. And now nobody trusts them. Is it a wonder why? Is it a question? Like, dude, like they've destroyed their credibility as organizations. Like, no wonder their viewership has dropped. I hope so. If it hadn't dropped, it would have been a horrifying sign for the future and the direction of the next 4 years. Seriously. I think this is an indication that we're taking the culture back and things are moving back into a direction where we can bring things towards classical liberalism, right? There's something called an Overton window, right? And that's the window of acceptable ideas in the cultural zeitgeist or the conversation. And it is dictated oftentimes by what narratives the mainstream media is willing to push. And that is what people see on a daily basis when they turn their TV on, when they scroll through the headlines on their phones. And that's why since 2016, this corporate push for all of this transgender, 1.5 million different genders and everything has been so successful. It's because it's that corporate push filling up our entire media space. So it's filling up all of the influences that hit our subconscious mind as we're moving throughout the day. And so for normal people that get their cultural cues from the media, to them, it presents a picture like this is where culture's going. This is the new morality. This is the way things are. And so the fact that we were able to get the popular vote come this election was a massive smack in the face to all of these people who were kind of like passively downloading their culture from the media. It was a smack in the face to show them, no, you've been lied to. No, you cannot trust these sources of culture. And I think that's why we're seeing this massive drop in viewership from these organizations, because people don't trust them anymore. The passive audience that used them to get their cultural cues of how they could relate to their friends and their homies, they can't trust them anymore, man. 53%, dropping from 1.3 million viewers the week before the election to just 632,000. This is part of a broader trend across cable news networks, with CNN also experiencing a massive decline, falling 47% from 754,000 to 398,000 viewers. Wow! They're below the 500,000 mark, dude. That is, dude, I mean, no wonder, dude. We've got media, the online media, competing with this viewership so hard right now. I'm pretty sure that in a couple months, you're going to have places like Timcast and places like Alex Jones. Alex Jones, I think, already beats viewership like this on a daily basis. I'm pretty sure Alex Jones gets like 3 times the amount of these kind of views on a daily basis in like during his recording. And if you were counting like viewership afterwards, I think he gets like 24 to 50 million views on some videos, man. It's crazy. Like the reach that these news organizations have is nil at this point, man. I think we're destroying them with our alternative media space and combating their narratives of what we're doing. For MSNBC, the ratings decline and has been especially pronounced for its top anchor, Rachel Maddow. Since November 5th, her show has seen a 41% drop in total viewers with a 50% decrease in the key 25 to 54 demographic. On Monday, Maddow's show hit its lowest viewership of the year and worst performance in the key demographic since 2015. Wow, that's crazy. So 2015, they had an explosion. They must have blown up. they really hit the culture hard. So have y'all guys seen the metrics of critical race theory and all of this like racial tension and terms like racism and stuff like that in the news and in articles online? Around 2010, it exploded. I really think the establishment was horrified when it came time for Occupy Wall Street, essentially, right? I think Occupy Wall Street as a movement and the focus on the class disparity and the financial system that is being taken advantage of by parasites really scared them, and they started injecting race as a way to pin the lower classes against each other. And I think, interestingly enough, when 2016 happened, or 2015, when Donald Trump started running, I think they really hit it hard. I think things weren't working for them and culture was moving in our direction. And I think that's why the viewership was so low in 2015. And I think that when Donald Trump was running his campaign, they ramped up the rhetoric. And I think that when he won office, their move was to double down on the racial division because of how it worked to break up Occupy Wall Street. I really think Occupy Wall Street was like a beta test for the use of racial division to break up class unification, right? And so I think that they doubled down on that because of those successes in Occupy Wall Street when Donald Trump won the election. And that's part of the reason why over the last 9 years, we've seen this type of racial rhetoric explode. And it's really pushed people in the opposite direction. It looked for a minute like it was working. But now it's really pushed people in the opposite direction, and they're gonna have to figure out something new because they've been trying this racial divide. They've been trying this stuff, the false dichotomies in our society, pushing people towards monopoly capitalism versus socialism and some sort of Bolshevik revolution. They've done this multiple times throughout society. They've done this in multiple countries throughout the past 200 years. And I really think at this point, people are getting hip to it as a collective, and they're going to start having to look for a new play. And that's going to be an interesting transition period as they look to a new narrative to divide people because of how traditionally successful this old one is. And they have not had to adapt. Our elites have not had to adapt for so long that I really think it's an opportunity to step in and break through this whole system of using logical fallacies to present us with broken narratives that are designed to manipulate our perspective throughout the day and throughout the years and throughout our lifetime. And so I think we are at a very pivotal moment in culture where if people step up and they make a move now to make their voices heard, we can make a serious difference in a way where we haven't been able to in times before this. Seriously, guys. And I think that this whole drop in viewership is exactly the sign that is the moment that we're in right now. MSNBC's Morning Joe has also taken a hit, with 37% of its audience disappearing since the election. Internally, the network is facing uncertainty. Last week, a parent company, Comcast, announced plans to spin off MSNBC and other cable channels next year. That news has led to concerns about potential layoffs and restructuring, with some employees worried about the future of the network. Despite these challenges, some inside MSNBC told the New York Post that the viewership drop is temporary and may recover in the new year after the inauguration. That's interesting. Why? What narratives are they planning on pushing? I'm wondering if somebody with that opinion is a little bit connected and they might have a little bit of some forward-thinking plans on where they're going to take the next 50 or so days before the inauguration in terms of narratives. Seriously. And I wonder if this whole thing with ICE, right? Because Trump is talking about the military or the National Guard coming in with ICE to work on deportations. This is what people don't realize about the deportations, man. There are so many felons in this country that lied about their identity. They have pictures taken. They can find them through facial recognition. They can also find them through comparing databases with their origin country. Now, that takes a little bit longer. And unfortunately, with the system that the Biden administration set up with the executive orders it pushed on day one, and then changing the Title 84, the new system that they have is they check in, they sign up for asylum, and then they go into the country to do whatever. And then they got their asylum case in 5 to 10 years from now, right? Well, the issue is that they're released into the country without the double check of the background that they're given. They do a cursory background check, and if nothing comes up with the name that they're given, they're released into the country claiming asylum. But the problem with that is there needs to be coordination. So it takes a while because our country has to coordinate with their country of origin. We're still building centralized databases for this stuff. And so it takes a while, especially for the FBI to come back with their information. And when the FBI does, sometimes they'll issue a warrant, but this person is who knows where in the country. They've moved over to a sanctuary city where now they're not working with ICE. They're still using the assumed identity. And so they're getting paid by the government and they're getting resources and they're living in the country while they're a felon. They might have murdered or robbed. They might have come here, murdered, left, come back with a different name. Bro, this stuff happens, man. And there's so many of them. That's what they're going to focus on when it comes to the deportations. They're not going to focus on deporting legal immigrants or legal residents or people legally awaiting their asylum. Dude. People think that it's just going to be innocent families and children round up. No, it's going to be ICE going after violent felons, the ones that the DAs have been releasing over and over again, the same ones that we have police coming out in press conference after press conference saying, yo, we caught this guy 3-4 times on violent charges and our DA keeps dropping it. Why? Dude, our police are frustrated. Our police are stretched to the brim because we got activist DAs trying to push a culture that is built on logical fallacies because they went to some sort of Ivy League school and they bought into this whole fucking critical theory perspective. Please, guys, look up my article, Critical Theory, a Psychosis, because, dude, critical theory is intellectually invalid. It is built on logical fallacies. You cannot functionally build a society looking at the world that way. And that's why we are seeing this rise in crime. That's why we are seeing this happening with these DAs. Something needs to be done about it. Something needs to be done now. It's not going to be random ass people being rounded up just because they're not white, bro. It's not, dude, this is not a fascist takeover. People care about this country and they want the crime to drop. Immigrants from the same countries that these felons are coming from and people are coming from illegally are asking for our government to step in and start enforcing some legal immigration, man. Seriously, dude, not only are they getting lumped in with the criminals and they don't like that, but secondly, they didn't get half the resources that these people coming in illegally are getting. And they're wondering why they're being treated worse and why they had to put more effort in and why they had to wait longer than these people that come in that don't desire to assimilate, that don't desire to contribute, that promote crime. And I'm not talking about all illegal immigrants, bro. I'm Cuban. My family came to this country seeking asylum from Castro. Dude, I love the fact that this country is a place that can be a safe zone and safe haven for people that are escaping authoritarianism. I absolutely love that. I love the idea that, you know, I where I live, I get to see Ukrainians that came over here for refuge. I get to see people that are Hispanic that came over here from their country for refuge because their country, who knows whether it's Venezuela or what's going on, their country's falling into authoritarianism and things are getting bad. I love that, dude. I do think there should be people, not everybody, but there should be people that stay to fight to make your country what it should be. Not everybody, though. Not everybody's that type of person. So I love seeing people come here for the safety, right? But at the same time, I don't like seeing people take advantage of those opportunities that we give for people that need it to come over here just because, you know, they have a political agenda like La Raza or anything like that, or just because, you know, they're part of a gang and their gang is trying to branch out and create new networks and do the MS-13 thing out here. Like, no, man, like that stuff is offensive to me, bro. Like, you are ruining it for the good people that need it. That's not okay. You can't do that in this country, man. But that's why they're dropping in viewers. They're pushing these narratives. They shut down those conversations claiming it's racism. They shut these things down. They don't let us talk about it. That's why they're losing their viewership. That's why these networks are losing viewership, man. And they refuse to accept it. And until they accept it, they will continue to lose viewers. And I hope to God they do, bro. Let's see. Internally, the network is facing uncertainty. Last week, parent company Comcast announced plans to spin off MSNBC and other cable channels next year. That news has led to concerns about potential layoffs and restructuring, with some employees worried about the future of the network. Despite these challenges, some inside MSNBC told the New York Post the viewership drop is temporary and may recover in the new year after the inauguration. My bad, I already read that part. While it's common for news networks to lose viewers after major events like elections, Fox News is the outlier. Fox News has experienced, listen to this, Fox News has experienced a surge in popularity, increasing 32% since the election. I wonder why. Why has Fox News increased 32%? Literally the majority of what MSN's lost. MSNBC's lost 47%, and Fox News has increased 32%. That's only a margin of 15%. And I imagine that 15% are people that are so disaffected, they're like, dude, I need to think about other things in my life right now. And I don't blame them for that, bro, because you've been lied to and lied to and lied to, and you've been worked into a psychosis that you're so emotionally committed to. And now you're smacked in the face with reality that you need a moment to resolve the cognitive dissonance. A lot of people need space for that. A lot of people, though, are in so much shock, they're looking for something to help them resolve that cognitive dissonance. And that's why you find 32% coming since the last election. It remains the dominant cable news network, especially after President-elect Donald Trump's victory. On election night, Fox led with 10 million primetime viewers, followed by MSNBC's 6 million. And CNN with 5.1 million. Wow. So the partisan divide is getting bigger. MSNBC still has 6 million, still beating out CNN. CNN is really, come on, MSNBC part 2. But they play independent and they use more independent rhetoric in terms of the terms they like to use. And I think that's to trick normies into thinking that they're independent. But it's so interesting to see that CNN is not holding as big of an audience as MSNBC or Fox News. And that shows, I think, that the partisan divide is growing. And you see that with a number of studies in this country showing that each side of the aisle is growing more and more entrenched into its ideas, into its ideals. Now, I also have an article on my website, itschromo.com, called The Shifting Overton Window. I highly recommend you guys read it because we have this idea in this country that the right wing has become more and more extreme. If you look back to the 1980s, the right wing, the Republican Party, has not shifted its platform at all. If anything, it's gone a little bit more to the left. The Democrat Party has shifted so far to the left since the 80s. And with each passing decade, all of its policy platforms become normalized because it's so successful, at least used to be, with its PR marketing campaign. And it used to be this big tent that it drew people in. It was so successful that with each passing decade, Democrat policies were more and more normalized. And so it created this impression as culture moved to the right, but as culture moved to the left, but the Republican Party stayed right where it was, it created this impression that the Republican Party was further to the right, because in reality, it was increasingly further to the right from where our cultural zeitgeist was. But that wasn't because the Republican Party was moving. That was because the media that everybody was buying into was shifting the cultural zeitgeist in that direction, and it was doing it in a very successful way. And now, finally, the pendulum is swinging to the other side. I hope to God it does not swing too far to the other side. I hope we find a balance in the middle. Please, it's time for us to find a balance in the middle. Fox viewership has continued to climb, reaching 3.2 million, an 86% increase from last year. Wow. Dude, guys, no wonder. You lie, and now you lie so freaking hard that objective reality doesn't even resemble the narrative that you were presenting. So no wonder people are leaving you, bro. No wonder you're losing viewership. I don't think it's coming back. As long as the pendulum does not swing too far to the right, as long as we as populists who are holding the torch of culture right now do not give it back up to corporate interest who will try to run us so far to the right that we swing back left. I guarantee you that's what they're going to try to do once they accept this shift. As long as we hold it and we stay steadfast to classical liberal values, guys, we can hold this. And they will not be able to paint us as fascists and as racists, bro. I'm telling you, man, we can take this back. We have a chance to take this back. Anyway, guys, hey, thank you so much for joining me on this segment. I got another one coming for you guys. I will see you guys again soon, all right?